I broke my rule just a tiny bit and did a tiny bit of research into this film before deciding to talk about it. I wanted to see what the general consensus was on audience viewers, not necessarily critics, but audience viewers, to see how well or how poorly they would have rated it. And I saw a very dichotomizing rating system. They were either very high stars or very poor stars. It was very few in the middle responses, but mostly fives, 5 out of 5 stars, or 1 out of 5 stars. It's very polarizing. And that film is Baghead. Now, I can understand the 1-star reviews. This isn't necessarily a scary movie. Not even close to being as unnerving or terrifying as, say, Oddity was. The Oddity was a very interesting film. Very interesting from an indie film perspective as well. This has a fair bit more budget to it. This one is also more streamlined. It's less scary. If you've been watching horror movies for the past 15 to 20 years, then you know the horror movie genre. You know all of these things. It's just not going to be scary to you. Normally, the way I would look at these films are, how good is its story? Is it intriguing? Does the concept enrapture my attention? Does the film keep my attention for the duration of its playtime? And I can answer almost all of those questions with a big fat yes. It is interesting to me. It is fascinating and intriguing to me. Will it interest you? I don't know. That's why audience opinion is important, because it just goes to show that sometimes some things are held in lower value than other things to each individual person. To me, I found the acting to be fine. It didn't bother me. There are a lot of dumb decisions, but these are horror movies. Dumb decisions are a dime a dozen in the horror world. That just means that this isn't one of the real rare sparkling gems of rhinestone diamonds in the rough type of horror movies. It's not going to be one of those types of film. It's going to be more of a streamlined type of experience with the acting and the character decision making. But in regards to a concept, the story's concept, I found that to be very interesting. We have a pub, the Queen's Head pub. It's an old-timey, probably from maybe even the Victorian era. It's just a pub sitting in the middle of, I believe it's London. And we open with an old man making a recording on a videotape, and that immediately should bring you back to the early 2000s to the late 90s in regards to how this horror film is set up and how this horror film feels and what era this horror film feels like it belongs into. It feels like it belongs into the early 2000s. Tapes were big back then. I mean, have you seen The Ring? Anyways, we have the old man making a recording on a tape, and then we skip ahead to his daughter, and the daughter is contacted by the estate owner, the estate broker, the dude who finalizes the old man's will, and says that she has inherited the pub. And she could either sign away her rights so that the man can find another owner, or she can inherit it herself. She decides to spend the night at the pubs because she never really knew her father for the past most of her years of her life. He ran out on her. So she decides to spend the night and finds it's kind of spooky and creepy here. But then somebody knocks at her door. And it turns out that there's a dude who is willing to give her a lot of money, in exchange for letting him see her. Now, who's her? Well, it's old Baghead here. Baghead is some sort of mystic witch lady. Undead or alive, I don't know exactly. She seems to be confined to the basement of the pub. And she has a bag over her head, hence the name Baghead. And her special power is, if she consumes a personal item from somebody, she will transform for 2 minutes into that person. And for 2 minutes you can talk to the dead. You can even physically touch them. And then after 2 minutes, Baghead takes over the spirit and takes control over it and does all sorts of creepy stuff again to mess with the people. It's like a monkey's paw type of deal. But people are willing to spend a lot of money to see their loved ones. So this lady, who is down on her luck, she just got kicked out of her old flat, decides to inherit the pub as a place to stay and as well as a place to milk for money. Milk this supernatural experience for money. And we eventually learn through good old-fashioned investigation. That's what immediately harkens back to the early 2000s types of movies. The early 2000s types of horror movies always have an investigation sequence, where we are investigating or learning about the mystery of the spooky supernatural thing that's going on, and it's a great way to show the viewer the spooky occurrence in a sort of mystery-solving aesthetic, and I eat that stuff up. I love the mystery-solving aesthetics. I always love the investigatings and learning about all sorts of spooky stuff, instead of just having a sequence of haunted house jump scares. I like the investigating, mystery-solving thing. So this was a very interesting twist at the very end of this film, and I'm not going to spoil what that twist is, but I will say that Baghead is worth watching, just to find out what it's not Shyamalan twist aesthetic, but it's pretty interesting. It's a intelligent loophole to the curse that old Baghead here is stuck under, and the ending of the film makes you wonder who exactly is in control. I can't say any more than that, but I will definitely say that Baghead is worth your time.